AfroWorldView reporter Patti Samfuyo is in Ulundi, KwaZulu-Natal. She joins us live from that event. The activities were expected to start at 10, and with the King's Welitini expected to address the crowd. What's happening at the moment, Patisa?
Well, people have started trickling in, Cindy, here at Ulundi Stadium to listen to the issue of land. As we know that the Ingonyama Trust is mainly here in Zululand with the land which control about 30% of land within KwaZulu-Natal. We know that the reason for this imbizo today is the issue of land, which is quite sensitive for most people, where we know that Ingonyama Trust, it controls 30% of land, and now the issue is, as Prince Buthelezi was saying earlier this week, there's still some grey areas in terms of the issue of land, of whether the land belonging to the traditional leaders will also be touched. And also we have the issue of the report that we were talking about by our former President Kgalema Motlanthe, where he's calling for the Ingonyama Trust to be scrapped or even amended. But now, Cindy, to talk us more about the Ingonyama Trust, I'm joined by Judge Jerome Ngwenya, who is the chairperson of Ingonyama Trust. Baba, thank you so much for joining us at AfroWorldView. The issue of the report by Kgalema Motlanthe, when he issued the report in terms of land, where he's calling for the trust to be scrapped, or even at some point calling it unconstitutional. What are your thoughts as the chairperson of Ingonyama Trust in this regard?
Look, what one would have expected is, if there is a problem with the constitutionality of Ingonyama Transport, a proper legislative process would have been commenced with by the lawmakers, not a body whose status, like the high-level panel, is, which we don't know how they feature in the whole legislative framework in South Africa. Our view is that if there is a need for the amendment of the Act, let it be. We will make an input. The public will have the opportunity to make an input. But what is unfortunate with the high-level panel is a complete disregard of the institution of people, not only traditional leaders, but ordinary people. The people who reside on Ingonyama Trust in the province are in excess of 3 million. Those people deserve respect. They should have been consulted. You don't say the land must be taken away from the trust, and you conduct those hearings in large hotels in the cities, and you bus people from traditional areas. You don't disclose who they are. You don't put their complaint to us so that we can respond. The worst thing is when you get invited to present this report and engage with us as the board, as well as the king as the trustee, as well as Amakosi, who are the people that administer this land on a day-to-day basis, you refuse. The next thing is you use derogatory terms, very offensive terms. Worst of all, the constitution of this panel is constituted by people, mainly coming outside the province, who do not understand the culture, the language. These are highly specialized people in various fields, but not on land and custom. One of the panelists, and we pointed this out to the chair, is a person with a history of hatred and prejudice against the people living in traditional areas, against the institution of traditional leadership. Unfortunately, she does not come from the same culture. The temptation is great that the thinking of a colonial type has not escaped that person. As you know, originally the Zulus used to occupy land far larger than what they currently have. Now, to even suggest that they must be deprived of the little that now remains in their custodianship, because in your view there is only one formula of ownership, and that is individual ownership, is unfortunate. The Zulu people live according to custom in a collective way. The land is communally owned. It allows people to be accessing land with minimal red tape. The title deed is there, is a security of tenure on behalf of the people as a collective.
But now, just reading the report, there were issues where on the report it says that there are people who were complaining that they had to pay rent to the Ingonyama Trust in excess of 1,000 rand. Do you have any comment on that? Because he was actually questioning, where does this money go to, or does it belong to the trust?
Yes, again, that is, of course, another thinking where people are looked down upon as if they cannot think. The Municipal Property Rates Act expects every landowner to pay rates. Ingonyama Trust is no exception. Now, you are talking about people paying as much as 1,000 rand, and let me say that is correct. Some people pay 1,000 rand a year. You can divide that by 12 and tell me how much it is. Those people, that money is kept in trust. The Auditor General has been auditing Ingonyama Trust since inception, has never found any financial misappropriation. We hear a number of institutions that are guilty of billions of taxpayers' money being misappropriated. We don't hear one call for those institutions to be scrapped. That includes the South African Broadcasting Corporation, South African Airways, PRASA, departments of government like schools, etc. They misappropriate from the reports that we get, including municipalities. If in each instance you say X municipality has misappropriated so much of taxpayers' money, therefore we must scrap it, we'll end up with no structures in the country. We are not told what Ingonyama Trust has done wrong. That is our problem. Now, to answer your last question about where does the money go to, I'm saying, as I'm speaking to you now, I've got municipalities that claim we owe them over 600 million rand. Right. Where will that money come from? Isn't it that some people are afraid of telling the residents that they are liable for municipal property rates? They hide behind the Ingonyama Trust. Now, if you want to dissolve the Zulu as a nation by introducing individual way of living, that is fine, but just be upfront. We're open for discussion. The king is open for discussion. For that reason, he's calling the people to speak for themselves, not to have unappointed spokesperson who do not stay on Ingonyama Trust land, some who do not even reside in the province.
Now, Baba, there has been some talk from some experts saying this Imbizo is premature because no act has been formed yet and nothing has been done. It was a report. Do you have any comment? Is the Ingonyama Trust jumping the gun by having Imbizo before the actual act is tabled in Parliament?
That's unfortunate that there are experts in everything. Firstly, it's not only the high-level report that we're talking about. There's a bill before Parliament, which was gazetted on the 7th of July last year. It's possible that those so-called experts have not even read it. In any event, the affected people are entitled to comment and express their views, like they are doing right now. If you look what the government is doing with the proposed expropriation of of property without compensation, they are consulting people. I'm not sure whether anybody can tell me whether he or she has seen a similar exercise being done to people who reside on Ingonyama Trust, that they must express their views openly like it is happening. You can see the difference between how the level panel went about and how the government, the lawmaking process is going with regards to the amendment of the law.
Just lastly, Baba, what can we expect at the end of Imbizo once all the views are heard from everyone? We know that there has been talks that the matter might go to court if government doesn't listen to the call of the people.
Certainly, the court process is underway. Unless the matter is halted once and for all, we will still go to court. But as to what will happen at the end of today, we will hear the views of the people, and based on the views, the king will give a directive of how he believes the matter should be handled.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. That was Judge Jerome Ngwenya, who's the chairperson of Ingonyama Trust. As I said, that he spoke about various issues affecting the trust, saying that even though the report was issued, no one consulted the trust itself or even the King Goodwill